Hello, and welcome to a story about a creature that only appears once a year, when the veil between the ordinary world and the extraordinary grows thin. A creature that roams the hills and forests only on Halloween night, waiting for those who wander too far, those who are brave, or perhaps curious enough to notice the soft rustle of leaves when no wind blows, the faint gleam of eyes just beyond the glow of your lantern, the whispers of shadows that seem to move with intention. Tonight, you are invited to walk alongside a young traveler named Elara, who has always been drawn to the mystery of the village's Halloween tales, stories of a guardian that appears to those lost in the night, stories whispered by children under blankets, stories dismissed by grown-ups as mere superstition. Yet tonight, as the sun dips below the horizon and the first hint of autumn mist curls along the cobblestone streets, Elara's curiosity will guide her into the very heart of the unknown, where the air itself hums with anticipation, and every step carries the weight of what might be discovered. For the Halloween watcher is patient, watching from the edges of the forest, its presence felt but never fully seen. And as Elara steps past the last lantern-lit street into the deepening darkness, she feels the first brush of unease, mingled with excitement, a thrill that quickens her pulse while the leaves crunch softly beneath her boots. And just then, as she pauses to listen to the night, the distant hoot of an owl is answered by a rustle in the trees, a shimmer of movement, a flash of eyes reflecting the waning moonlight, and she realizes, with a shiver that is neither entirely fear nor entirely dread, that she is not alone, that something ancient and elusive has noticed her, that something waits in the shadows, and that Halloween night will unfold in ways she could never have imagined. A night that will stretch long and winding like the branches above her. A night that will test her courage, her curiosity, and her sense of wonder. For the forest is alive in its own subtle rhythm, the whisper of leaves like a language only the watcher truly understands, the glint of eyes like promises or riddles, and the air thick with magic, the kind that makes the ordinary shimmer with possibility. And as Elara steps deeper into the shadowed path, she thinks of the stories her grandmother told her, tales of the watcher who collected lost memories, who guided wandering souls safely home, who appeared to those who were searching for something they could not yet name. And she feels a strange comfort mixed with the thrill of the unknown, as though she has been chosen to witness something rare, something fleeting, something magical that exists between the moments of night and the first glimmer of dawn. And in that instant, when the wind swirls around her and the trees sway gently like silent sentinels, she senses the first true presence of the Halloween watcher. Not threatening, but undeniably powerful. A being woven from shadows, moonlight, and quiet whispers, moving just beyond the lantern's glow, guiding her along a path lined with the forgotten leaves of many seasons, a path that twists deeper into the forest, twisting and turning like the heartbeat of the night itself. And as she continues, each step a careful negotiation between fear and fascination, she notices subtle signs that the stories were true. The way the mist seems to form shapes that vanish when she blinks, the way the branches sway in patterns that almost seem intentional, the way the distant glow of the village fades behind her while the darkness ahead feels alive, patient, waiting to reveal the secrets of a night that comes but once a year. A night where the watcher watches, and tonight Elara is its companion, its witness, its student of the hidden. And as she takes a deep breath, the forest exhales with her. The shadows stretch and bend, and the first soft notes of something like a lullaby drift from far among the trees, barely audible, guiding her deeper into the heart of Halloween night. Elara's footsteps softened as she followed the winding path deeper into the forest, the lantern in her hand casting gentle golden circles on the fallen leaves, and with each step, the village lights faded until they were only a memory behind her, leaving her alone in the embrace of the night, where shadows danced among the trees and the scent of pine and earth filled the air, rich and grounding, yet carrying a hint of something unusual, something ancient. The rustle of leaves sounded closer now, not quite behind her, but always at the edge of her awareness. And though her heart quickened, it was not in panic, but in a quiet excitement that made her senses sharper, attuned to every whisper, every shift of wind, every glimmer of moonlight filtering through the canopy above. And then she saw it, or thought she did, a flicker of movement between two great oaks, eyes like amber lanterns watching silently, unblinking, patient. And for a moment she froze, unsure whether to call out, to run, or simply to breathe slowly and wait. And when she exhaled, the figure had moved, drifting across the forest floor as though it had no weight, leaving behind only a faint shimmer of light and the soft echo of something like a sigh, a presence both unnerving and strangely comforting, as though it recognized her, or perhaps knew the path she had come to follow. And with that she continued, each step a dialogue between curiosity and caution, until the path opened into a small glade, bathed in the silver glow of the moon, where the leaves seemed to shimmer and the air hummed with quiet magic, and she realized that the forest itself was alive in a way she had never imagined, the branches swaying with intent, the shadows stretching into shapes that hinted at stories untold. And there, in the center of the glade, stood a figure, taller than any human, its form shifting, neither fully solid nor fully shadow, with eyes that glowed softly like coals in a hearth. And it regarded her not with hostility, but with the calm, patient curiosity. And Elara felt the first true understanding. This was the Halloween Watcher, the creature of legend that appeared only once a year, and it had chosen to reveal itself to her, not to frighten, but to guide. And as she stepped forward, the Watcher tilted its head, moving as silently as mist over water, beckoning her to follow deeper into the forest, where the ground grew softer, covered in moss and fallen leaves, and where every sound seemed amplified, the snap of a twig, the flutter of wings, the distant call of an owl, all part of a symphony that led her onward, weaving a tapestry of sights, sounds, and sensations that felt like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. And as they walked together, Elara noticed subtle marks along the path, faint carvings in the bark of trees, symbols she could not yet understand, yet they seemed reassuring, like breadcrumbs left by some unseen hand, guiding her to a place she did not yet know, but instinctively trusted. And with each step, she felt the Watcher's presence grow stronger, a pulse in the air that was steady and calm, like the rhythm of her own heartbeat, until they reached a small stream, its water sparkling with reflected moonlight, and the Watcher stopped, crouching slightly beside the bank, gesturing with a movement so fluid it almost seemed like the water itself had shifted to form the motion. And she understood that it was showing her something, a reflection in the stream that shimmered and shifted, revealing faint glimpses of past Halloweens, travelers and villagers alike, those who had wandered too far, those who had followed the Watcher willingly, and those who had only glimpsed its eyes and moved on without knowing the gift it offered. And as she knelt beside the stream, Elara felt a soft warmth spread through her chest, a reassurance that though she had entered this forest alone, she was not truly alone, for the Watcher was there, silent, guiding, a guardian of stories, memories, and the quiet magic of Halloween night. And as the wind stirred, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and distant fires,
she understood that every sound, every shimmer of shadow, every heartbeat in the forest was part of a delicate balance, a rhythm that had existed long before she had arrived and would continue long after she left. And with that realization, her steps slowed, her breathing deepened, and she allowed herself to sink into the calm, letting the watcher's silent presence lull her senses, teaching her the language of shadows, the song of leaves, and the gentle way the night itself could cradle a wandering soul.
Elara followed the watcher as the path twisted deeper into the forest, where the trees grew taller and the shadows stretched long like fingers across the soft, moss-covered ground, and the air seemed to hum with quiet energy, as if every leaf, every stone, every whispering gust of wind were alive with intention, guiding her onward. The moon hung low and round, casting silver light that shimmered on the edges of the mist curling along the trail, and with each step, she could feel the presence of the watcher nearby, its eyes glowing softly through the dark, watching, patient, protective, never rushing, but always guiding. And as she moved, she noticed subtle signs of the forest's magic. Mushrooms that glowed faintly, forming delicate patterns along the roots of ancient trees, vines that seemed to sway in rhythm with some invisible melody, and the distant murmur of water that sounded almost like a lullaby, soothing and steady, drawing her attention toward a hidden stream that sparkled with an unearthly glow. The watcher paused at the edge of the stream, crouching low, its shape rippling as if made of shadows and moonlight, and in the reflection of the water, Elara saw fleeting images of herself as she had been and as she might be, moments from her past blending with visions of places she had never been, dreams she had long forgotten, and in that soft, quiet reflection, she felt a deep understanding settle within her, a gentle awareness that the forest was not simply a place, but a living story, a memory, and a guide. And the watcher was its keeper, teaching her the language of the night in ways that words could never convey. The subtle shifts of shadow, the gentle caress of the wind, the way the water whispered secrets only those willing to listen could hear. She continued along the path, her senses heightened, but her mind at peace, noticing how the forest seemed to bend slightly around her, branches parting to make way, leaves brushing her gently as if to encourage her forward. And at one point, she came upon a circle of trees unlike any she had seen before, their trunks twisted and gnarled into shapes that seemed deliberate, like the letters of some long-forgotten alphabet. And in the center of the circle lay a smooth stone, warm to the touch, and etched with faint, glowing symbols that pulsed softly as if alive, resonating with the watcher's presence. And Elara instinctively understood that she was standing in the heart of the forest, the place where its energy was strongest, where the magic of Halloween night concentrated and whispered in patterns older than any human memory. She sank to her knees beside the stone, feeling the warmth seep into her hands, and the watcher leaned close, its form shifting gently, eyes glimmering like lanterns, and for the first time, she noticed the way it moved with a rhythm that matched her own heartbeat. And she realized that the watcher was not just guiding her through the forest, but sharing its pulse, its quiet, steady heartbeat, the calm that had allowed countless travelers to find their way here before her. And as she breathed in the scent of moss and night-blooming flowers, she felt a deep serenity, the tension that had lingered since she entered the forest melting into a soft glow of wonder. The sounds of the night became a gentle chorus, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the quiet splash of the stream, the faint whisper of wind weaving through the trees, and all of it seemed to harmonize with the subtle glow of the watcher's eyes, creating a lullaby that wrapped around her senses, guiding her mind towards stillness. As she lay back on the soft moss, looking up through the lattice of branches at the moonlit sky,
She saw shapes move gently in the corner of her vision, creatures of the forest that had never been seen by human eyes, small, glowing beings that flitted among the shadows, playing and dancing in ways that filled her heart with quiet joy and awe. And the Watcher remained nearby, silent, a guardian of this hidden world, allowing her to witness the magic without fear. And as minutes slipped into hours, the forest's rhythm seeped into her very bones, each breath slow and deep, each heartbeat steady. And she realized that the journey had transformed her, teaching her the gentle patience of the night, the quiet thrill of curiosity, and the deep, comforting knowledge that there were wonders in the world that waited for those brave enough to notice, for those willing to step off the beaten path and listen to the whispers of the shadows. And as she drifted closer to sleep, the Watcher's eyes softened, dimming slightly as if to say that tonight she was safe, that the forest's secrets had been shared with her gently, and that she could rest, cradled by the rhythm of the ancient trees, the murmuring stream, and the silent, watchful presence of the creature who only appears once a year. And as she sank fully into the calm of the forest, the magic of Halloween night wrapped around her like a blanket, and the world of shadows and light, whispers and memories, all became one, guiding her into a deep, peaceful sleep beneath the silver glow of the moon, with the Watcher standing sentinel, patient, silent, eternal.
Elara awoke to the soft glow of the moon filtering through the branches above, her body resting on the thick carpet of moss, and immediately she felt a Watcher's presence nearby, shifting silently among the shadows, patient and watchful as always, its amber eyes glowing like gentle lanterns, observing without intrusion, allowing her to awaken in the forest's calm embrace. She rose slowly, stretching her limbs, and noticed that the forest around her had changed subtly while she slept. The mist hung lower, curling around tree trunks like delicate silk, and the air smelled faintly of autumn leaves and something sweeter, something almost like the scent of memories long forgotten, a perfume that tugged gently at the edges of her mind, reminding her of the warmth of childhood Halloweens, the faint laughter of friends, the glow of jack-o'-lanterns flickering in the night. Yet, mingled with this nostalgia was something new, something mysterious, a sensation that tonight she would discover truths hidden from ordinary eyes. And as she moved forward, the Watcher gliding silently just beyond her lantern's circle, she realized that the forest was alive not only with magic, but with stories. Stories woven into the very fabric of the leaves, the earth, and the wind, each waiting to be heard, each ready to share itself with those willing to listen. The path led her to a series of arches formed naturally by intertwined branches, like gates crafted by time itself. And as she stepped beneath the first arch, she felt a soft vibration under her feet, a pulse that matched the rhythm of her heartbeat, as if the forest itself had recognized her passage. And the Watcher's eyes seemed to glimmer in approval, guiding her with subtle gestures, tilting its head, moving with the fluidity that was both mesmerizing and comforting. And she noticed now that the shadows themselves seemed to shift, forming shapes that were not threatening but inviting, like illustrations in a storybook, moving slowly to reveal glimpses of hidden glades, small pools reflecting stars, and pathways lined with glowing fungi that lit the way in soft, gentle patterns. She followed these signs deeper, noticing that occasionally the Watcher paused and gestured toward objects or scenes she would have otherwise overlooked. A fallen branch twisted into the shape of a rune, a
pool of water where the reflection shimmered not just with the moon, but with fleeting images of travelers from past Halloweens. And as she peered into the reflections, she saw their expressions, a mix of curiosity, wonder, and serenity, and understood that the watcher's purpose was not to frighten, but to guide, to teach those who followed it the quiet magic of Halloween night, the kind that only reveals itself when one steps slowly, listens carefully, and allows their senses to become attuned to the rhythm of shadows and light, of whispers and stillness. And then, as the path curved around the cluster of ancient oaks, she noticed a faint glow ahead, soft yet distinct, pulsating in the air like a heartbeat. And when she approached, she realized it was a small clearing, its center dominated by a stone pedestal carved with delicate patterns that seemed to shift subtly in the moonlight. And upon the pedestal lay a small ornate box, intricately detailed with symbols that radiated warmth and familiarity. And she understood instinctively that this was the heart of the forest's magic, the place where the Halloween watcher revealed the treasures it had gathered over countless years. Memories, tokens, and echoes of those who had wandered here before, each preserved with care, each held gently, not for the taking, but for the observing, for the appreciation of the beauty in fleeting moments. And as she knelt beside the box, the watcher lowered its head in a slow, deliberate bow, a gesture of respect, acknowledgement, and trust. And she felt a wave of calm wash over her, stronger than anything she had felt before, a serenity that spoke to the core of her being, reminding her that she was part of a story much larger than herself, a story woven into the fabric of the night, the forest, and the watcher's eternal vigil. And as she rested her hands on the box, a gentle warmth radiated outward, filling the clearing with the glow that seemed to resonate with every part of her body, soothing her mind, relaxing her muscles, and quieting every lingering thought, as though the forest itself had invited her to fully surrender to the moment, to breathe in rhythm with the heartbeat of the night, to allow her curiosity, awe, and calm to mingle into a single feeling of perfect presence. And as she leaned back against the pedestal, looking up through the arches of twisted branches at the moonlit sky, she realized that she had discovered something rare, something precious, the knowledge that even in the shadows, in the unknown, there is a gentle guiding light, a presence that watches not to harm, but to teach, to protect, and to share the quiet magic that exists only when one steps slowly, listens carefully, and allows their senses to become attuned to the rhythm of shadows and light, of whispers and stillness. And as she exhaled fully, letting the warmth and calm seep into every corner of her body, she felt herself drifting, not into fear, but into a soft, gentle sleep, cradled by the forest, the watcher, and the heartbeat of Halloween night itself. A night that would linger in her dreams long after she left the glade. A night where shadows and light, mystery and serenity, curiosity and calm intertwined into a single, endless lullaby.
Elara awoke to a soft rustle of leaves, the kind of sound that feels like a whisper carried on the wind, and realized she had rested longer than she thought, the warmth from the stone pedestal and the glow of the clearing still lingering on her skin, a comforting echo of the forest's magic. The watcher was there, as always, standing silently at the edge of the clearing, its glowing eyes calm and inviting, and she understood that it was time to leave, but not with fear or haste, only with the gentle awareness that the forest had shared its secrets with her in its own patient way. And as she rose to her feet, she felt the soft brush of moss beneath her boots, the quiet crunch of fallen leaves, and the faint shimmer of moonlight guiding her along the path she had first entered. And though the journey back seemed long, it was no longer intimidating, for she knew the Watcher's presence would accompany her, subtle and unseen, a guardian of travelers and memories, of curiosity and wonder. As she walked, the forest whispered in patterns she now understood, the shifting shadows forming gentle illustrations, the wind carrying hints of laughter and distant music, faint traces of all the Halloweens that had come before. And with each step, she felt herself more deeply attuned to the rhythm of the night, the quiet magic of the woods, the pulse of unseen life moving harmoniously around her. And when she reached the edge of the forest, where the first faint lights of the village shimmered in the distance, the Watcher paused, its form rippling in the moonlight, and she realized she could no longer see it clearly, but she felt it, a warmth that lingered in her chest, a presence that reassured her that even in darkness, she was guided, protected, and never truly alone. She stepped back onto the familiar cobblestone streets, the crisp autumn air carrying the scent of pumpkins, smoke from hearths, and the faint sweetness of fallen leaves. And though the village seemed ordinary now, she knew it was alive with quiet wonder, that beneath the familiar, hidden currents of magic flowed, waiting to be noticed by those who dared to walk the shadows at night. And she smiled softly, recalling the lessons of the Watcher, to move slowly, to observe carefully, to listen deeply, to trust in the rhythm of the unknown, and to find serenity even where curiosity might have once sparked unease. As she approached her doorstep, the warmth of home blending with the lingering cool of the forest, she paused to look back, half expecting to see the Watcher gliding silently among the trees. And though it was gone, she knew it was still there, always watching, always patient, always guiding. And as she turned to enter, the night seemed to hum softly, a lullaby woven from shadows, moonlight, whispers, and the pulse of ancient magic. And as she lay down to rest, her mind replayed the gentle mysteries of the forest, the flicker of eyes in the darkness, the glowing stone pedestal, the patterns of light and shadow, all blending into a seamless tapestry of calm, curiosity, and awe. And slowly, softly, her breathing deepened, her heart slowed, and the warmth of the Watcher's presence, the rhythm of the forest, and the quiet magic of Halloween night carried her into the most peaceful, restful sleep she had ever known. A sleep where dreams were gentle journeys through glowing forests, starlit streams, and secret clearings, guided always by the Halloween Watcher, patient, kind, and eternal. And the world outside faded, leaving only the soft embrace of night, the whispering wind, and the lullaby of a forest alive with magic, carrying her into dreams where mystery and serenity danced together under the silver glow of a forever Halloween sky.